Welcome back to Rainbow Nation Radio, where we explore South Africa through American eyes. I'm Chris.
And I'm Jessica.
Today, we're tackling a fascinating topic that's been making waves in the South African automotive market. Chinese cars are taking over, and we're here to unpack why this is happening and what it means for the future.
Chinese cars taking over South Africa?
It sounds far-fetched, but the numbers don't lie. In just 5 years, Chinese automakers have quadrupled their market share, shaking up the entire industry.
Wow, that's a bold statement to kick things off. What kind of numbers are we talking about here?
Well, let's break it down. Back in 2019, 5 Chinese automakers reported their sales to South Africa's Automotive Business Council. At that time, Chinese automakers made up about 12% of light vehicle brands in South Africa and accounted for a mere 2% of overall new vehicle sales. Fast forward to 2024, and those numbers have skyrocketed to 21% of light vehicle brands and 9% of all light vehicles sold. It's a seismic shift in a relatively short period.
That's quite a jump. What's driving this rapid growth?
It's a combination of factors. First, there's the issue of affordability. Rising interest rates and the overall cost of living have made South African consumers more budget conscious. Even wealthier buyers are looking for more economical options, and Chinese brands, with their competitive pricing, have stepped in to fill this gap.
So it's all about the price tag then?
Not entirely. While competitive pricing is a big factor, there's been a marked improvement in quality and reliability too. Chinese automakers have invested heavily in research and development, often partnering with international firms or hiring experienced engineers from established automotive industries. They're offering advanced features like modern infotainment systems and driver assistance technologies that used to be the domain of more expensive vehicles. Models now come with features like state-of-the-art infotainment and advanced driver assistance systems, which significantly boost consumer confidence.
Interesting. So which brands are leading this charge?
Great question. GWM and Haval have been dominating the market, alongside newcomers like Chery. Together, these 3 brands accounted for 88% of Chinese-branded vehicle sales in South Africa by mid-2024. They're not just selling cars, they're redefining the market.
How are the traditional luxury brands responding to this?
Well, they're feeling the heat, that's for sure. Audi, BMW, and Mercedes-Benz have seen their combined sales more than halve over the past decade. Audi's numbers, for example, dropped from over 18,000 vehicles in 2014 to just 6,259 in 2023. It's not just affecting the luxury segment either. Even in the more affordable ranges, we're seeing Chinese brands consistently ranking among the top 10 for quality and stock availability.
Are there any other brands benefiting from this trend besides the Chinese manufacturers?
Absolutely. Suzuki, for instance, has been gaining popularity. They've made it into the top 10 most searched for brands on AutoTrader for the first time, replacing luxury brands like Porsche. It's a clear indication that people are looking for more budget-friendly options across the board.
Interesting. So what about the impact on the local automotive industry? Are these Chinese brands setting up shop in South Africa?
That's a great question. Many Chinese automakers have indeed established local assembly plants and distribution networks. Companies like BAIC have established manufacturing facilities in South Africa, reducing import costs and tailoring their vehicles to local preferences. This not only helps reduce costs, but also allows them to better tailor their products to the local market. It's a smart move that's creating jobs and contributing to the local economy.
Well, that sounds like it could be a positive development. But are there any concerns about becoming too dependent on Chinese manufacturers?
You've hit on a key point there. It's definitely a topic of debate. On one hand, we're seeing more affordable options for consumers and potential economic benefits from increased investment. On the other hand, there are concerns about the impact on established brands and the long-term effects on the local automotive ecosystem. The government is trying to balance these factors with policies and trade agreements that facilitate foreign investment, while also supporting local industry.
Speaking of the future, what about electric vehicles? How do they factor into all of this?
Now we're getting into some really exciting territory. Some Chinese brands are already introducing electric and hybrid models to the South African market. For instance, BYD is launching an electric hatchback called the Dolphin, which is set to become the country's cheapest battery electric vehicle. This could give Chinese manufacturers another edge as the world moves towards electrification.
Oh, that's fascinating. It sounds like the South African auto market is at a real turning point.
It absolutely is. And it's not just about cars. It's about how global trends intersect with local markets to create something new. The success of Chinese brands in South Africa could be a preview of similar trends in other emerging markets around the world. We're looking at a future where the automotive landscape could be dramatically different from what we're used to.
So, what should consumers take away from all of this?
Well, for South African car buyers, it means more options and potentially more value for money. But it's important to do your research. While Chinese brands have improved significantly, it's still worth checking things like after-sales service, parts availability, and resale value. And for those considering a luxury German brand, it might be worth looking at the total cost of ownership, not just the sticker price.
And for the industry as a whole?
For the industry, it's a wake-up call. Competition breeds innovation, so we might see some exciting developments in the coming years. Traditional manufacturers will need to adapt to survive, whether that's through more competitive pricing, increased features, or a shift in focus to electric vehicles. It's going to be a fascinating space to watch.
Well, it certainly sounds like the road ahead is going to be an interesting one for the South African auto industry.
That's putting it mildly. We're looking at a potential reshaping of the entire automotive landscape in South Africa. The rise of Chinese brands isn't just a blip on the radar. It's a fundamental shift that could have far-reaching implications for consumers, workers, and the broader economy.
It's quite a lot to take in. Any final thoughts on what to watch for in the coming years?
Absolutely. Keep an eye on how traditional brands respond to this challenge. Will they introduce more affordable models, ramp up their electric vehicle offerings, or perhaps focus more on the used car market? Also, watch for any policy changes from the government. How they balance supporting local industry with attracting foreign investment could have a big impact on the market's direction.
That's great insight. So, to wrap things up, what would you say are the key takeaways from our discussion today?
Well, I'd say the main points are these. First, economic pressures are driving a significant shift in South African car buying habits, with a move towards more affordable options. Second, Chinese automakers have positioned themselves perfectly to meet this demand, offering competitive features and improving quality while investing in local manufacturing. And finally, this trend is likely to accelerate, potentially reshaping the entire automotive landscape in South Africa and beyond. It's a story that goes beyond just cars. It's about economic change, technological advancement, and shifting consumer preferences.
Fascinating stuff. Well, that brings us to the end of today's show. Thanks for tuning in to Rainbow Nation Radio. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Chris. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment to join the conversation. Stay curious, stay informed, and we'll see you next time, where we explore South Africa through American eyes.